Well, honestly, I just say we just start it. You know, it's informal. So thanks for guys for being really flexible. My name is Erin Graves again. I'll just like hand the mic over. We're going to start with YESS, and then we'll have all talk about them, and then at the end we'll open it up to group questions as well. So we'll just start off with introductions.
I'm JC. You all have seen me talk all day long. As I said before, I am the president of YESS. I am on multiple boards. If it wasn't for Renee, I wouldn't be so busy, but that's okay. I like being busy. I have cerebral palsy. I was born 32 years ago. I was born 6 weeks premature with cerebral palsy, and I have never let that stop me. And that's what I'm here today to do, is to teach you all how to make it so those kids don't want to stop.
My name is Renee Whetstone. I am the advisor for the YESS group, not for all. But I also advise another group called American People. So the difference between the two groups is YESS is for youth and young adults ages 14 to 24 with and without disabilities. It is not just advocacy, but also a social group. I mean, these guys have become best friends. Colin and JC barely knew each other before we got involved with all of this, and Aaron, and yeah, they're all pretty attached. We're all pretty attached to each other. I also am advising the American People group, which I'm really just now working on getting back in, active again. And actually, Veronica probably knows more about it than I do. But American People is like YESS, but it's for adults. It's for people 21 and over. And it really kind of fizzled out during COVID because so many of the people that were in the group were in group homes, and the group homes wouldn't allow their people to go out to these events during COVID. So we're really kind of trying to push to get the membership up again on that, and get some things going with that again. Cool. I am also Colin's mom, so if you don't understand what he has to say, I'm sure they're going to give me the mic back and I'll have to say it.
My name is Erin Graves. I am a board member. As I said originally, I was the president of YESS. I recently stepped down as I started my profession as a speech therapist, but I'm still heavily involved. I do live with not only mental health with anxiety, depression, but later diagnosed with severe post-traumatic stress disorder, and then later with a autoimmune condition due to the post-traumatic stress disorder and a heart condition as well. And so this group has really helped me understand my rights, and not only rights, but friendships. It's really easy to start talking about rights, but honestly, I feel like YESS is all about friendship, so we're excited to share that with you today.
Hi, I'm Colin. I'm the vice president of YESS.
And how old are you?
I'm 24.
Please share your name. Is it on? Bear with us one moment.
Let's talk back. Home. Greetings. Greeting. Back. Home. Name. Hey, I am Tyler.
And Tyler. Okay, well, I'm going to hand it off to JC now.
I didn't know that was going to happen. I was going to hand it off to Erin because this is Erin's brainchild, basically. But I've done it before, so I'll do it again. So as we said, YESS is for youth ages 14 to 24-ish. Colin, I know. Stop. I know I'm old. We are an extension of the peer-to-peer group. And as we said before, all we want is friends and inclusion. Inclusion is huge. Because if it wasn't for groups like this, Tyler wouldn't be where he is today. Tyler is an absolute wonderful advocate, but he needs a way to get his voice out. So he uses an iPad, as you just saw. But we have board meetings once a month, and then we do monthly activities. Like we just recently had a picnic. Back in July, we had a massively successful tie-dye event. Renee and I were running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to figure out, because a lot of things happened in a matter of 45 minutes, but it was very successful. We like to eat food. We're not just a board. We're friends. We serve all disabilities across the board. So I'm going to now pass it off to Erin.
And so often we get asked, is how do you get involved with a group like YESS? And so whether it's you yourself, whether it's your child, whether it's somebody you work with or know, or even a kid down the street, YESS, like I said, is for those young adults 14 to 24, and then that's why I'm also excited for all to talk, because they can talk about some of our other age ranges too. But we are located on social media, so your young adult can find us on Facebook under Youth Empowering Social Status, or you can YESS, or we also have some brochures we'll hand out here. We encourage young adults just to show up. It's better experienced than explained, because it's just a lot of fun. So not only do you have that social piece, we also have that right and advocacy piece. At our board meetings, everybody's welcome, all abilities, whether you do or do not have a disability. And at these meetings, we talk about local things in our community, what is going on, what are some events coming up, what are some challenges we are currently facing. Like for example, there was a location in town that wasn't super accessible, and we all sat down like, hey, like this is a problem, how do we address it? And it's really interesting to hear all people on the board, their thoughts.
So Erin, before we take the mic away from you, we probably won't tell the story about when we were at the Eagles.
Yes, do it.
The fun part about being an advocate is getting asked questions that you don't know the answer to. And I feel like sometimes young adults and youth, there's always that unknown, right? And how do you prepare your kids or young adults for the unknown? Yeah, I don't know how I prepared for that one. But I was at a local organization in town, and they could not understand that there are groups that exist outside of just healthcare. So they thought that YESS was all healthcare. Like, oh, you take care of JC and you take care of Colin. I said, oh no. I do not take care of these people. These are my friends. We're just friends. And they said, so do you like help take care of them? No, I do not. And so that's really important, especially if you're a young adult, is explaining like, we can just be friends and we can hang out. Doesn't matter if I have a disability or not. Doesn't matter if you can see my disability or not, because you can't see mine. It looks a lot different than JC's, but that was a story. And so this group definitely helps prepare you to advocate for yourself, even in kind of the unexpected.
So another unexpected story that Erin was actually a part of, but I got there before her. The Youth Bureau in Bismarck does not have an elevator, and I discovered that the hard way. Tyler, Wendy, another board member of ours that isn't here today, Colin and myself had gotten there before Erin, and I said, I'm here to speak on the YESS program, and they go, great, you're upstairs. They said, great, where's the elevator? And they go, we don't have one. What? What do you mean you don't have an elevator? Like, we're all in chairs, or most of us are in chairs and or have difficult time climbing stairs, like Erin. We needed an elevator. They ended up having to move us down to this little teeny tiny boardroom where there was, 10 of us? And they really didn't know how to react, but by the end of that, there were tears, there was hugging, You just got to be open. But coming across stories like that is why I do what I do.
And so to kind of conclude is you guys all have these brochures, and so just to really close it off on what we do and what we stand for is, we really believe that diversity and inclusion is key. And even if you feel like your child or that person maybe doesn't feel like that, that's okay. Just have them show up, and we all model through example. The other thing too is not only do we have fun, we also do a lot of volunteer work in our community, whether that's volunteering at the Walk for Down Syndrome, whether it's volunteering at the soup kitchen. It's another really great way to get youth involved in the community and know like what are some of the pieces out there, because there's a lot of things going on, and sometimes as a young adult it's really a confusing world to navigate. So in just conclusion is this is a really great group to get your child and youth involved in, especially to create those lifelong friendships. What we're going to do now is we're going to pass it off to the all group. And so we're going to pass it off to the all group, and then we can come back here later for some Q&A as well.
Okay, my name is Carol Becker. I have an disability. I raised my son who had a disability, and I didn't have anybody to help him. And so we started forming this group to help people to advocate for themselves, but also to have family that could advocate, to teach families how to. I didn't know what I was doing. I spent my son's whole school year crying because I was told he was stupid, he was never going to graduate, he was never going to do nothing. And now he's 32 years old, he has a daughter, he graduated high school. No, he didn't go to college, but he got him a job. And he's working 40 plus hours a week, and he made something of himself. I'm proud of it because I did it without any help. But I don't want to see other parents have to go through that trouble. And so that's why I joined the AW group, is so I could get out there and help others. I mean, I have disabilities myself, but I know how to speak up for myself, but there's people out there that don't. And so that's why I joined. I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl now, who is on our board, and then she's going to tell about the board part of it.
Hi, we're one of the Cherubia, and I've been in awe for like 5 years or 5 or 6 years. We do a lot. We had a quarterly meeting like 4 times a year, where everybody comes to Bismarck for a day, and we had meetings. We had people coming in and talk to us. Like our very first meeting was like the nutrition. So we had somebody came talk about nutrition, different stuff that we wanted to learn. All were started because the DD Council, the PNA, the -8 Advocacy. Long time ago, there was a sub-advocacy called the Y, called the trade, and somehow we just kind of went away, and a lot of us sub-advocacy were kind of lost without the group. So when PNA, the DD Council, and the -8 pour the money together and pour all the sub-advocacy together from the west to the east. We came here and we discussed what we would like to have in our meetings. It took us, 4 or 5 different meetings. We discussed about our name. We discussed about how we want to vote. and we discussed that we want to take control to how we feel and what we stand up for. Anybody could join. The PC, the people that help us, they could join. But only one thing different that they cannot do is that I gotta let Connie talk about that. Because she can vote. And Connie can tell us why she can vote. Well, she could explain it better than I could. Sorry.
You're fine. I don't want to stand in front of anybody. So my name is Connie Klein, and I work for one of the Centers for Independent Living in North Dakota. Our main office is in Minot. It's called Independence Incorporated, and I work in our Bottineau office. And so the reason I can vote is I'm a person with a disability myself. I also have those invisible disabilities. So you can look at me and say, well, you know, what's going on with her? I'm not going to go into everything that I have going on in my life because it really doesn't matter. So advocates leading their lives, how it started, and Cheryl did a really great job, but we came together, our first meeting was in Mandan, and we had a roundtable discussion, and advocates leading their lives is bringing all advocacy groups together in one area. So maybe Grand Forks has an advocacy agency, or a group. Fargo's got one. Bismarck's got a couple. And Advocates Leading Their Lives is a way of bringing all those advocacy groups together for some training, for some camaraderie, and also to make a difference. We've done legislative stuff. We brought in trainers on self-advocacy. The one gal is... Yes. And so, you know, she does stuff at the national capital. So, you know, just bringing it all together. Whenever we have a subject that we want to talk about, we get a hold of usually Julie, and now Carrie, who is her helper, or our board. And there's really, I don't think, anything that we haven't asked for that we haven't been able to have a speaker come in and talk. So we've had Protection and Advocacy come in. We've had Centers for Independent Living come in. We've had North Dakota Assistive come in. YESS has come in. The group out of Grand Forks, they'd come in a few years ago. SAS, yes. And so what we want, we let them know, and then we are all getting that same training together. And now I'm going to pass it on to... Oh, okay. So she wants me to tell the difference between who's a voting member and who's not a voting member. So a support staff who is not a member cannot vote. So even though I work at an agency, I'm a person with a disability myself, and so I become a member of all, that allows me to be a voting member. So somebody that's coming in as only a support staff is not going to be a voting member. Does that make sense? Right.
Having that way is empowering us to have a voice. And so, and Alan is a vice president. So he could tell us a little bit how the president and the vice president got.
Before you do that, Cheryl, can I just give one little thing?
Yeah.
So not that we haven't had our ups and downs as we have come together as all. When we talk about support staff not being voting members, we've also had some issues where mom and dad have come in with a younger mid-aged gentleman, all had disabilities, all were in the all group, and pretty soon it was them telling him what to do. Them saying, well, he can do this and he can do that. He didn't want to do that. And so empowering him even to say no to mom and dad, even though we're all a part of all, just giving him that empowerment. Julie or Alan?
You can talk longer then. I just wanted to add the kind of financial piece of this group for everyone. So, like Cheryl said and Connie said, we invite people from all over North Dakota to attend our quarterly meetings. And then you can bring that information back home to your local groups or to your school or to your job or your friends. That's the whole point of this statewide network. The DD Council and our sister agencies with PNA and Minot State, we financially budgeted and contribute to this group so it can be active. What that also means is we provide mileage reimbursement for you coming to Bismarck to meetings, or we have a contract with a taxi company in Bismarck that we can come pick you up and bring you here and give you a ride. We provide hotel rooms, we pay for your meals, and then we reimburse meals that you don't get, like if you're driving home at night, we reimburse you for that. So the point of being in this group is not to cost you a lot of money. We already know that it takes time out of your day and your week to come overnight, come to a meeting, and we don't want finances to be a burden because Cheryl and other advocates had told us that in the past when groups were trying to meet, it was always a money problem. No one had money to rent a room to go to meet. Nobody had money for the food. So we've all committed that to be a no-cost option. So think about that. You just work on that with me or Carrie, and we make those arrangements for you, and it's all taken care of. And I think that's important to help, get people here so you can participate. I just wanted to add that part in.
I will. I figured it out. There. Okay. I was just saying that Julie and the DD Council help pay for rides for people to come to the YESS meetings. The ARC will help pay for rides for people to come to the American People meetings. But, like our groups, YESS has done a tremendous job raising money for a lot of the things that they do. And, we bring speakers in to talk to our group. The things that we do out, the events that we have, usually we are able to cover the cost. Like we have a bowling night, we cover the cost of that. So it usually doesn't cost anything for the people who are attending our events. Oh, I also wanted to bring up, there is another advocacy group that we aren't representing here very well. It's the Consumer Family Network, and I know, Cheryl, are you still on that? And Elise, are you still on it? Yeah. Yeah, so there's a Consumer Family Network Council, and they do advocacy for people with mental health issues and their families.
My name is Alan Becker. I'm from Minot, North Dakota, and I've been on it with a member of the All Group since 2017, I think it is. I've been vice president up till last couple of years ago, when somebody else took over my spot. Basically, it's been a fun group. We work all over the state, and we can give our, like I said, voice to not only the state but nationwide too. When been to Utah or the DC, spread our word out to all various groups of people that don't get to hear from our small state and stuff like that, And like Cheryl's on the board right now, but there's other members that aren't not here. Who probably wouldn't mind me. Cheryl Chastity Probst right now is in the hospital. She's a treasurer? No, secretary. But when I first started this business in this house, they voted me vice president to start with, and Cheryl's husband Steve was president. So a little dance music, okay. But we had like 5 board members. Is it 5? President, vice president, secretary, treasurer, committee chairperson. So we started out a little slowly. We got some training the first couple of years. And they only finally got going about the 3rd, 4th year. Everything started coming together. Now there's new board members have all picked up the baton and done even more. And since we gave it, you know, but it's been a fun way to work with youth of the like the new youth groups over here and stuff, and see the changes been made in the state, you know, for accessibility, which is my main goal as an advocate. You know, accessible to buildings for sports or meetings or, you know. But that's basically my. Thank you.
And one other thing that I wanted to bring up is we, when we get it together quarterly, we decide what's going on. We did become 3C and status, and we're able to now, because we're a nonprofit, we can accept donations. And we did get a large donation from a organization that was in Williston that closed down, and they had funds left, and they needed to know what to do with them. And they got a hold of Cheryl, and Cheryl was able to say, well, I know where you can donate that money, because it had to be donated to a nonprofit. They couldn't just take it and spend it because the group had went under. And Cheryl had gotten us that big donation to help with, you know, bringing in people, speakers and stuff. So we do, you know, we work really close together, even though we're not in the same, you know, communities. You know, she's in Williston, we're in Marnot, we've got Grand Forks, Fargo, Jamestown, Grafton. We've got a big group that comes from Grafton. And so, you know, when we get together, we like to have a little fun too. So usually the night before, we either have game night or just social, you know. One night we had a dance, and one of our gentlemen brought in music, and he was a DJ, you know. We may not have all got up and danced, but we listened to the music and visited, and sometimes that's when you get the most support from, you know, you talk to somebody and, yeah, you know, well, that's happening in our area too, you know. So all the areas are the same, you know. We don't say that, you know, one area is better than the other. We get together and we want to make it better for everybody in North Dakota, not just one area, and really getting out into the rural communities now. We're trying to get out and get some of new people in from the rural communities so we can see what their problems are, what do they need help with. Because the big cities, you know, there's a lot of advocacy groups, but you get out in your rural areas like Botno, where Connie is, there's not a whole lot. Connie's up there kind of all by herself. And, you know, that's a big area for one person to cover, you know. So we do have brochures for the all group, if anybody's interested in those. We have some of those in the back where you guys were all able to pick them up. We would love to have, you know, people join. Our next quarterly meeting is in October.
Thank you to both the all group.
Yeah, so if you're coming from out of town, they put you up in a hotel the night before. The meeting will be on a Saturday morning. we have our meeting, and then they, and then like Julie said, reimbursement for your mileage. So, your meals are covered. So it's a real good program. If anybody would like to join, we would love to have some more people.
So thank you to both YESS and All Group for kind of sharing what your programs do. Now I wonder if we have anybody in the audience that has a question for anybody on the panel. Sure. Please use the mic. They can't hear on the video.
Partners in Policymaking is a program to help you train to do, to help bring change to how to work with your legislature. Julie's passing out the brochures for that. What's the date of the first one, Julie? Okay, so we have 3 sessions set up for this. The first one is September 9th, 10th, 11th. It's 3 days. We do Friday, Saturday, and half of Sunday, right? Most of Sunday? Okay. So we're doing it in 4 weekends, and it's 3 weekends. I'm sorry. And we're trying to get it, into a shorter period of time because it's been as long as 8 weekends in the past. And, but it was not as full a weekend. Yeah. So anyway, we want to get it all done before the weather starts to get ugly this year. And this teaches you how to bring about change with your legislature. It's a wonderful program. There's no cost to you on it. It is paid for, the DD Council pays for it, is that correct? All of it? And they pay for travel, spend the night in the hotel, they pay for the hotel, they pay for the food. So you have no cost involved if you want to come and do this. And we're encouraging people to please sign up for this. We've got some wonderful speakers coming in for it. So we'd like to see you there.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us. Now, do we have any questions from the audience for any of our group here?
So I just wanted to let you guys know what Utah has been doing, because I'm from Utah and I'm actually excited to be with you guys today. So a couple of things that Utah is doing. We're also doing partners in policy making as well. We're pretty excited about that as well. We're tagging along with Julie's group. We also have a group of self-advocates called, excuse me, I cannot talk today, my brain's going weird. We have a group of speakers that are called the Self-Advocate Speakers Network. We go out and train people just like you guys do in the YESS group. We train self-advocates, family members, siblings, professionals, and community members all about leadership, advocacy, what issues the appeal displays face, and it's called the Advocates Leaders Speakers Network. And then we also do our project called Take Your Legislator to Work, where we have people with disabilities take their legislator to work and show them that they are working. So we got a lot of things like you guys are doing. Cool part is, though, we are starting to get our People First group up and running, and we're really excited about it pretty soon.
Thanks for sharing. Looks like we have another question over here.
Hi, I've taken this in the past. I had a nightmare experiences taking it. Is this a second class, or I don't understand, because I've taken it before and it's like it was like 8 sessions. Can I retake it or not?
No, you can't.
So Partners is a one-time class, so it's going to be the same class you probably did before. We just squished it into 3 weekends instead of 8 because we knew it was a struggle for everybody to do all that traveling in the winter. Any other questions for our panelists? Oh, right here.
So I'm looking at your schedule and I don't see a time frame. Is there like a start and end for each of these?
Yeah, sorry it's not on there, but if you're interested, you can use that Google link to apply or email me. But we start noon Friday. We provide lunch, go till about 6 p.m. Then Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be around 9 to 5 all-day sessions for that.
Other questions? Oh, one more. She's making me get my exercise.
I'm interested in attending. I've always wanted to attend Partners in Policymaking, but I'm gonna probably have to go with a virtual option because I don't think I'd be able to find respite during that time. Would that be okay?
My eyes are watering. I'm moving so fast. You know, the air is coming through. Woo! So our partners class is held at Bismarck State College in person, but we are using their Ivan Tech Center. So every session is virtual and in person, but using the Tech Center, you're in a room like this with screens, so you're all interacting together. You're in a room together, whether you're virtual or in person. You certainly can attend every session virtually. You just have to attend all of the sessions. So if you're still interested, know that is an option. That you can do it virtual from home. And then most speakers are in person, but some actually attend virtually also. So speak to you from their home from California doing class. So we have that option for anyone that can't travel. Last year, we really needed it because 3 weekends in a row, 3 months in a row, we got a blizzard. And we had participants from Grafton and Fargo and Grand Forks get on the road and have to turn home. So because we had that virtual option, they could still participate safely at home. So no, you can do that and still sign up. Any other questions while I'm here? Okay.
Other questions for our YESS or all groups?
So we are wondering, for somebody from YESS, how do we find groups in our neighborhood? Like, we live in Minot and have had a hard time finding youth advocacy groups there.
Okay. YESS is really the only group like this in the state. We have had some interest in groups starting up in other parts of the state. We're willing to help, do what we can. Our group is sponsored right now by the Arc of Bismarck and Designer Jeans of North Dakota. And you know, you'd have to find a sponsor that will help you sponsor, and then, but you know, we do our own fundraising. But if there's some way we could help you establish a group, we would be willing to help.
So last year when we were under DCIL, and they were great, but we had a virtual Zoom meeting set up so that we could start groups like this in other networks, because like she said, we are not your typical group. We are friends outside of the group. We're not just a board. Like tonight, after this is all done, we're gonna go out for supper, and I mean, our connection is absolutely wonderful. Without this group, Colin wouldn't be where he is today. Absolutely, I wouldn't be. I mean, I don't give myself a whole lot of credit, but yeah, I've seen Colin absolutely flourish. I've seen a few of our other board members who we had one who started and he wasn't quite sure about it. And then we spoke at the DPI conference in November a couple years ago, and by the end of it, he was so excited and running around in circles because he was actually heard. That's what we want.
But to kind of like piggyback onto your question, you know, when I was like the original president of this, and for a young adult to take that on, you should do it, because it's like the best decision I ever made, and I made some of the best friends I could have ever made too. Not only was it good for my friendship and my social life, it was great for college. I got to make a whole support group. It is just so helpful. And so if that is something you guys are interested in, Minot, I know we have a gentleman in Fargo who's interested in something like that as well. You know, just let us know how we can support you. And we would love to see youth getting together in all parts of our state.
We are on Zoom, so if you want to set up a meeting on how to get one started, just let us know. We'll get in contact with you and make sure we get you connected somehow. So,
Looks like there's plenty of support. We have about 5 minutes left. Did we have any more questions?
I know. I've always said that I'm like, I don't want to talk, but I'm fairly new to all of the individuals and people up in this room, but like my manager said that it would be great for me to come to this because she knew that I would just love it. And I have to say, I work primarily with Tyler, and he is nonverbal, and he is amazing with that iPad. But seeing both Colin and JC both push him to use his iPad and use his words himself to make his own decisions is amazing. And I used to work with another nonverbal student. He was deaf, and he was learning sign language. And in the school system, they weren't giving him all that support that he needed. So it's nice to see. Like, I'm almost going to get, like, emotional about it. Like, I love it. And ever since I started at HIT, I got an emotional attachment to Ty, and everyone knows that. Yeah, right, Ty? But it is truly, truly amazing. And I think you guys should start one in Minot for sure. Because I come from a super small town like Colin. I come from Flasher, and we've got quite a few different disabilities in there, and they don't have anything like this. And I think even there's like 3 individuals there that I think that would flourish in this. Granted, they're lower elementary, so they're not 14, but still, I think it would be great for that.
I'm gonna call her out because she just called herself out. But with Ty, you have to be patient, and the 2 staff that are in here with these individuals from HIT, they're absolutely wonderful. He gets picked on because he's they say he's semi-babied, but it's you have to be patient with Ty and let him get his words out, and Hannah is very patient.
As far as with starting your other group too, we have had a group from Wilton that joins us on Zoom a lot of the times, and when we have actual social events, they do come down and join us with those events.
So if you're willing to drive.
You have to be patient with me. Like, she knows. The reason I did that was she knows I can speak. And if you don't do that, with me, I won't speak.
In our group, we push all of our friends to do all the things that they can do, and Colin speaks just fine. It just takes another second or 2 in our patience, and so that's what Colin's trying to say too, is we support you in giving you the time to speak.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. So, Cheryl, you're our last question.
Okay, this is a question for a yes and for all. Yes, what does the future look like? Yeah.
Let's get the mic here so we can hear them. Who's starting?
Because we have our age range of 14 to 24, we have a few people in our group that are kind of aging out. They've stayed, and several of them are in this room. But they plan to stay on our board and work with our group. But as far as getting new people in our group, we're working really hard to encourage people to come. I think we might start going into some schools again and doing some speaking. We've done that before, gone into schools and spoken to classes and talked about it. But I think our future is good. I really do. I think this group has done good things, and we have a lot of good things to do.
I believe in the future of the all is going to keep going because there's people that, you know, statewide, you know, we're trying to really get out into those outer regions, you know, the little small communities and see what we can do to help them. You know, I know that in Minot we've got the Second Story, which would be a place you could check to start out to. They are already a social disabilities advocates, and they're right down on 2nd Street. And they have activities going. They do bingo nights. And that's, you have to have a disability to belong to the Second Story. And you have to, you know, there's an age. I can't go to Second Story now because I'm too old. You know, I could have if I would have started younger, but I didn't move to North Dakota till I was too old to join. So, but that's a place you could check as Second Story. They could help you get another, you know, some. We've worked with Second Story, and go down there and do some advocacy to get them, you know, to train those people in Minot how to advocate for themselves. So, and we do have a program run through our independence where people with disabilities are going into and having lunch with children in the elementary so that they get accepted, you know. So that's a new program that was just, you know, they did it last year, and they were able to add Bishop Ryan to the group this year. So, you know, there's just, you know, you can get a hold of Independence if there's something you would be interested in there. They have a lot of stuff.
All
But
right.
I think
Well,
we're gonna
thank you
go
to
on.
both the All and the Yes groups for sharing with us today. I think many of them are going to be at our social at the end of the day. So if you want to learn more about how to be part of their group or start your own, please reach out to them.